meditation. Meditation, what we're here to talk about today is turning your customer into your marketer, which might sound a little weird, but it'll make sense hopefully by the end of this. The format will be, I'll do a little introduction, we'll go through the meditation. After that, I'm going to select somebody from the audience, hopefully somebody I don't know, and we're going to try to learn a little bit about your business. And then hopefully, with fingers crossed, this is always like the dice roll, I'm going to hopefully teach how we can turn that person's customer into their marketer. So that way you guys will see in real time kind of how the process works. A little background on me. How many of you guys have been to Las Vegas? Okay, how many of you guys have been to the Cosmopolitan? Okay, so in 2012, when the Cosmopolitan opened, they had the world's largest chandelier. I designed two of the world's largest chandeliers. In 2012, I stepped into tech. 2014, I launched my second tech startup. It was a social platform for the interior design industry. And I had the benefit of being mentored by the CEO of LinkedIn, the CEO, VP of Snapchat, the founder of MySpace, and I got to hang with Kevin Synstrom, the CEO and founder of Instagram. So from them, I learned platform building. And that all makes sense as we dive in a little bit further. But just some of my street cred, so I'm not just some person who's like, you should do this thing. Okay, let's go into the guided meditation. And again, on this one, I'm going to walk us through kind of becoming centered, and then I'm going to shift our perspective to your client's version or view of you and how they interact with you. So we're going to go on a little bit of a journey. So if you guys could just get kind of seated, both feet on the ground, close your eyes, take a big, deep breath in. I'm not a super meditation person, so just take that big breath in, let it out, big breath in, let it out. Now, I learned this one last week. If you can kind of shake your left arm and just feel your left arm just kind of shaking, just wiggle it around and feel the sensation of your arm moving. What it's doing to your shoulders, what it's doing to your spine. Just wiggle your left hand. And slowly kind of slow that down. Just let it rest there. You can feel the tingling on it. You can feel the pulsing in the left arm. Contrast that to your right arm. It was just sitting there, so you can feel the energy in your left arm. Now let's start shaking the right arm. Feel the movement, feel it to your shoulders. Now let's slow that down and let's just feel what that did to your right arm. You're feeling that vibration in your right arm. You feel different in your left arm. And let's just kind of listen to the sound channels. Listening to our breathing. Now I want to start taking this on a journey. I want you to picture your most repeat customer. And if you don't have a customer, think about the person that you would like to be your customer. I want you to think about their gender. Male, female, you have dark hair, light hair. Focusing on the hair. Is it long hair, short hair? Take a look at their eyes. What kind of eyes do they have? What's their shape of their nose look like? What's their mouth look like? Are they wearing jewelry? Are they not? Just really focus on the details of this person as a customer. Now, let's think about that customer for a little bit. Let's try to see through their eyes. Let's kind of merge in with them and see through their perspective. Where did they first learn about your business? Were they browsing on the internet? Was this a Facebook ad or a post? Did they hear about you from a friend? What did that friend say about you in the business? Was it positive stuff? Was it negative stuff? Was it a personal detail? Was it how satisfied they were with your product or service? What do they know about your business? And how after they discovered you on social media or your friend, do they know what to do next? Do they know how to reach out to you? Do you want people calling you? Do you want people following you on Instagram? Do you want people going to your website? Do you want people booking you? How do they know that? Did a friend tell it? Did your social post say it? When you're still in your customer's journey, you're seeing your company through your customer's eyes. And it was the first time they heard about it from a friend or a social post, or maybe an email marketing campaign. That customer doesn't trust you yet. They need to build trust. So where do they hear or see about you the second time? And what's that experience like? Are you giving them offers on social media? When they see you on social media, is it just nothing but offers and sales pitches? Or are they learning something from you? Is there something that they're learning from you that they would want to share with other people? If you're a real estate agent, are you selling houses? Or are you teaching people about the market? If you're in breath work or in health, are you talking about your next event all the time? Or are you sharing with people what they could do to have a healthier, better life? How are you telling their story? How are they involved? How can they start to build a relationship with you? So now let's say that person does reach out to you. You're the customer. You're still in their space. You're imagining their hair, their eyes, their nose, their jewelry. How do you reach out to your business? Is it your website? What's your website look like? Is it clear what you do and the next step that you want a person to take? And I'm going to fast forward here and assume that your customer loved your product or service. They love me. And now they could become your advocate because they love your service. They love you. They love your products, your services, and they're ready to tell other people about it because they're at the peak of their satisfaction. Do they know how to refer you? Do they know how to share you? Are you telling their story? What would compel them to tell their friends or share about you on social media? Okay, now I want you to just sit in that thought for a little bit. We're just going to take a minute to sit and think about your customer's journey. Think about how they perceive you. And if they're willing to share you. Think about how they're willing to share you. What compels them to share about the incredible products and services? What compels them to share your story? Let's come back into Radio Tulum. Let's start to shake your right arm this time. Let's just shake your right arm a little bit. Get that right flowing again. Shake that left arm as well. Let's pick ourselves up. Get our customer. Get out of our customer's head a little bit. Alright, when you guys are ready to open your eyes. When was the last time you guys put yourselves in your customer's shoes? We say it all the time, right? You guys heard the word avatar, right? You guys have an avatar for your customers, right? Yeah, it's a common thing. We heard about it from marketers, an avatar. But usually that's so that we can talk at our avatar. We know who to gear our marketing towards. But very rarely do we walk into our own business as a customer. So we think we're seeing a bunch of stuff. Now, I had a podcast, and on the podcast I had this guy, Chris Weidner. He was a protege under Zig Ziglar. And he said something I really called never forget. He said, we view others on their actions, and we view ourselves on our intentions. Think about how that plays out. We're designed to look outward. We're not really designed to look at ourselves. In fact, when we do see ourselves in the mirror, and it's the opposite version, it's a reflection. So we're just not even designed to see ourselves. And unfortunately, we're humans, so when we design our businesses and we market our businesses, we do the same thing. We think, what do I need? I had slow sales this weekend, I need more sales, so my customers are going to get barraged with marketing. If I'm fine, and I tell all my customers how great businesses, and you see this with real estate agents, just sold. Does that matter to your customer? If you put on your customer's shoes, do they care? So how do we start to think like our customer? How do we start to put on our customer's shoes? And then this is where my topic will be, how do you turn your customer into your market? Now I'll tell you, how many show of hands, how many people are on Facebook? Okay. Fun fact about Facebook. In the terms of use, Facebook, it goes against their policies for you guys to use their logo in any of your posts. You're not even supposed to mention Facebook as part of your post. If you post with a Facebook logo or link, and then you run an ad or you boost that, Facebook will take it down. They won't approve your ad because Facebook doesn't want to be associated with you. They want you on the platform. They don't want you using their logo as street credit, as validation for your business. They're not associated with you. They just simply host your content. Have you guys seen the stickers when you come into restaurants where it says, follow us on Facebook? You guys seen those? Fun fact, Facebook's never given us their logo. Never once has Facebook given us, here, download the official logos. When they changed their logo, they never gave us that logo either. So that sticker that you saw in front of a building, that was a marketer who probably stole that image from somewhere. But at some point, somebody traced the Facebook logo, and then you paid, or the restaurant paid, to have that made into a sticker. And that sticker violates the terms of use of Facebook's policies. It's crazy. This is a company that turned all of us into their marketer. And we've done it on LinkedIn, Twitter, with all the social platforms. Follow me on. And when we said that, when we invited our friends to follow our page, we became marketers for Facebook. And I'm not saying that's bad. It's freaking brilliant. That's brilliant. How did these guys who never talked with you? Mark Zuckerberg has never talked to you. He's never asked to share your story. And we post food pictures and our life's adventures, and we do all this stuff. And he never asked us to do it. He never explicitly told us to do it. He gave us a platform, and then we did what humans do. We were self-motivated to self-promote. And that's what businesses do too. They self-promote on these platforms. And that's not a bad thing, but most businesses will not see that, and they will not leverage it. So you'll see Facebook with billions and trillions of users, and then we're sitting there going like, oh man, it was slow this weekend. How can I get more people? So I want to dig in on that, and I want to give it as an example so you don't have to hear me yapping the whole time. I would like, if somebody would like to volunteer, preferably somebody I don't know, so that's even scarier for me. And I'd like to learn a little bit about your business and what you do, and then I'm going to attempt to try to figure out how we can turn your customer into a marketer. So if anybody want to be a volunteer and share about their business. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, if you don't mind, or you can sit there if you'd like, or if you'd like to come up, you're welcome to. And I'll make this a little bit easier for you too. I'll kind of do it podcast style. So if you wouldn't mind, you share your name and a little bit about you and your time?
Yes, okay. Sorry, working. So my name is Adrian. I'm a founder of Viajes Conciencia. It's a project of conscious tourism here in the Riviera Maya in Tulum. And it went bankrupt with the pandemic. So now it's a time where I'm moving forward, trying to restart it.
Okay, perfect. How did you get started?
That's a good question. I got started when I'm a tour guide. I've been a tour guide for 20 years doing archaeology tours, eco tours. And in 2009, there was a small pandemic coming into Mexico. It was called the H1N1 pandemic, and that shut down tourism. And at the time, I was in contact with a Mayan community. And I said, this is actually the sign of the end of times, because it was before 2012. So it was like, oh yeah, this is only something I don't want to be around cities. So I decided to go through a Mayan community, and I was adopted by Mayan elders there. And I was living with them and learning about their spirituality, their ways of life. And at the same time, the partner that I was with got pregnant. And he was like, oh man, what's going to happen? I don't have work, but we're going to have a family. So I decided to come to Tulum and started offering private tours. And at the same time, I'm a French speaker as well. So at the same time, Air France started to send direct flights from Cancun to Paris. And a lot of French started to come in, and in 2010 I was really good a lot. But now I guess I'm restarting and rebranding it, so it's more a spiritual experience with the Mayan culture.
Very interesting. Now, what is something most people might not know? I mean, you shared a lot right there, but what is something most people might not know about your new business?
This is great. That at the same time as the pandemic was there, that I'm learning about my calling as a keeper. My curandero is a word in Spanish that means healing trauma. So all of these experiences allow me to become more in peace with that aspect of my life.
I'm going to pause with that. Well, you know what? Because I will use this with your permission as kind of a little podcast episode. But how can people find out about your business?
So I have my social media, my Instagram. I have my website called viajesconciencia.com, which translates to conscious journeys. Also, in my curandero practice as a healer, I have my Instagram as well. It's Mario Massage. It's my work as a curandero, is doing massage work to go into the brain and to stay there in the brain with like a waterfall. And then going on the other side of the brain, you'll find tips, treasures about yourself. It's an activation, DNA activation.
Now, I'm going to use you as an example here. Could somebody raise their hand and share a detail that you learned about him and or his business? What stuck out for you guys?
I think what I got from the last part is massage, activating healing.
Okay, so, right, and thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and I'll kind of, your business is perfect for this. So if you wouldn't mind, then I'll kind of dive in on this. So, what would his posts have looked like? He was just posting on social media. I'm sure there would have been a lot of cultural photos and would look fairly advertorial, right? But I invited him up to share a little bit about himself. He teared up at one point. Those are details that he shared about himself. I know Jane felt that. Like, look, you can see on her face that she felt that. Right? I mean, Lisa, sorry. Those are the things that you share with your friends. Those are the details that you share. Now, you wouldn't normally post that on a social post, right?
I think you should.
Yes.
But you
It's
should.
all about the emotional connection.
Yeah.
Immediately when you were speaking, I was thinking of marketing technique that you could use. For instance, you could say something like, I found myself, and then we found us. Or something like that, and that kind of really portrays your message, and it really touched me to see you well up. And it was at that point that I thought, you need to market that. Well, because it's the emotion that really sells, and right now we're in that kind of era. So I'd love to see that. To be honest, it's something that I would buy into, the emotion. So yeah.
And I'm going to go a step further and say, it's great to share your story. So if you haven't done an about video, and if you don't regularly show up on podcasts and get interviewed by other people, that's where you would tell a story. Leverage other people's audiences, go on other people's podcasts so that you can tap into their network. But he should be sharing the stories of his customers. And odds are, we don't do that. Odds are, we think, let me just keep advertising, promoting. Business is slow. I'm going to put a post out there. Business is great. I'm going to tell everybody how great it was. It's advertising. It's not storytelling. And now I'll dive in because what you do is right for telling stories. And now on your website, you're probably going to put a bunch of photos and events that are going on and register now and sign up and that whole bit. But you've got a really good opportunity to go around and interview through written posts or content or video content where this is my camera equipment right here. It's a tripod with a cell phone. And if you've got a cell phone in today's world,
So I have a question about what we just said.
sure.
About if I have a doubt about if I share my customer stories, he or she is a customer that already paid me for helping her, and I do tarot readings, and there are so many great, amazing stories about working in tarot. But I'm scared of sharing not personal, someone who already paid me, and also use that content to market out something and not share it out.
Yeah, so yes, if I told you, if I walked up and I was like, "Where's the microphone in your face? Give me a testimonial." Yeah, that's shit. Don't do that. Now, tarot readings are very personal. Don't whip out the camera right then. Talk to your customer, get to know your customer. Learn about them in their personal life. People love to tell their story. Walk up to anybody and say, "Hey, nice meeting you. Can you tell me a little bit about you?" People love. We want to connect. Humans want to connect with people. We love to share our story. It doesn't have to be marketing. It can be a completely unrelated. There's people on TikTok. I saw this guy last year. He goes up to people and he says, "Are you happy?" And people think about that for a second, and then they share. It's crazy. We want to connect with people. We want our story told. We want to feel relevant. Humans want to feel relevant. It doesn't have to be directly related to your business. It's not a testimonial. What I'm talking about today is not testimonials. What I'm talking about today is sharing. Create a platform to share your customer stories. Testimonials, we already know, are inauthentic. You're going to get only the good ones. What website, Pepsi doesn't post their horrible testimonials, they post the good ones. So we already know testimonials are shit. Tell their story. Tell their story and don't worry. Tell them at the beginning, not to mention me. This is not a testimony. I just want to learn more about you, and I'd like to share your story. It's super easy. Now, in your case, you've got a lot of people, because you're selling a culture. Your business is you are selling it. You're going to sell packages and that sort of thing. So go tell the stories of the people in the community. Your website should be packed full of stories, because most people aren't going to sign up for your company. But they can come back and read stories, and they can watch videos, and they can learn about it, and they're going to tell their friends about it, and their friends may sign up for your company. Be a good storyteller. It's a good community thing to do. It's just a good human thing to do, to tell more stories. Fun fact, did you know that less than 1% of all businesses will ever be featured in a local or national magazine? So you see like Elon Musk in the news all the time, right? Well, that's cool for him, but no offense, the business down the street, they would have to catch fire for the news to come out and say anything about that. There's a huge opportunity to tell stories of the customer and the people in the neighborhood. And that's what I talk about, is using your social media, it's a platform, using your website to tell the stories of your customers and the people in your network.
So, this question, then from you, I was sharing about the Thomas Bank with the Mayan family and I was adopted by them. Would that be the story that I need to be telling?
I mean, you could, so in that, I would go onto podcasts, and I would put a little blurb together and reach out to podcasts about your story. But for you, what I would do is I would go to, let's say, mine-owned businesses, different companies and organizations in your community that are not your customer, they're just people that reinforce the story. And I would go tell their story. Set up a camera and just interview them. Can I interview you about your customer? Just like I did. Right? So I interviewed for you. And I didn't ask you for a testimonial. It was just purely 100% you. And at the end of it, I even said, how can people find out more? I want to drive people to you. Right? Now, that'll go on my social media, and that'll go on my website, and it'll go on my podcast. And people will learn about you. And they might go to your website. You will probably get traffic because of the people in my network that I'm going to guess we have maybe 1 or 2 people in common, maybe on WhatsApp, but probably nobody on social media overlapping. And the second I put your story on there, all of my people get to learn about it. You're going to get a benefit out of it, but where did they read it? Where did they learn about it? They learned it from me. I'm the conduit for it, right? So the people will come to my platforms going, Joe tells other people's stories. Did you hear about this guy? Right? And that's the training for your customers. It's like leveraging that, right? I've got a network. What good is it if they always see my posts, my ads? How much more do they get by learning about other people? I'll go here, and there.
I think to answer his question about he was adopted by a Mayan family, should you share that? It's just like you, Joe, when you started the conversation, you told us you've been mentored by these people in these places. People want to know. You hit a low, something happened for you to come to a high. So I believe you talking about being adopted by a Mayan family is adding credibility to your service, because it's, he does a massage, yeah, but he was adopted by Mayans. Why is that important? He's not just a regular massage therapist. It's coming with wisdom and special energy. So of course that should be a story, because it makes you stand out from other people who might be doing massages but they've never really learned from a Mayan. I think it's part of your unique proposition. Yeah, I have the same
kind of view on that. So it's very special, your story. But at the other side, I have another thought in my mind. If I would be like a tourist or somebody coming here, I also would think about the ethical part. So I would be, okay, you can tell your story, but you cannot do that on the, exploiting the Mayan community. And I make myself, it's hard to say, but also like, what will they benefit from you telling your story? And I think in this sensitive case of the Mayan community, which is mostly very poor, I would just be cautious about that, but also like try to give that back to the people who gave me all this wisdom. Like this is for me would be an important detail there to be ethically correct.
Well, that's why I would tell your story on a podcast, because that's where, listen, and I've got 4 podcasts. So, podcasters are storytelling. So I want to learn about you, because then people can hear about you on my podcast. And that's a great place to tell your story. The content that you would create, and it's not even necessarily creating the content, is you going around and interviewing mind-owned businesses, local people, because, you know, when people come to different countries, they want to support. It's why we will go to Starbucks, but you know, it's why we avoid Starbucks. We want to learn, where can we go here that's more authentic? I would drive traffic into your network. It wouldn't be exploiting like let me just go find some Mayan who's sleeping in a hammock. Like that's not the story. God, you see those TikTokers and that sucks. Don't do that.
Sorry, I just want to add, how do I know that? Because I also have worked for many years in my community, and because we actually do also Mayan people, but really in the Mayan community, and also especially on giving back to the community. So I would be happy to connect with you all. Yeah.
And we have one more.
Yes, I would like to know, what do you recommend if, in terms of storytelling, if the clients value their privacy? Because for me, I've worked with a lot of influential people in the past, also in the area of psychedelics and so on, and they had profound results, but they said things like, if the executive board knew what they would be doing, they would probably be kicked out of their position. So these people won't openly share their story, but maybe there's a way how we can share these stories without letting know who it is, or more anonymously, or what do you recommend for these areas that are a little bit more sensitive, or what you share to their clients that have sensitive content and maybe don't want their stories so exposed in public.
Yeah, so let me be very clear. I'm not saying testimony. And when you shared your story, I didn't set that up with, okay, you should mention me, and here's the price going on my name. Like, this was not a testimonial. This wasn't, I didn't ask them to inauthentically advocate for me. I just asked them, can you share a little bit about you and what you do? How'd you get started? What makes you unique? This is his story. And what I advocate for, if you guys went to Facebook right now and you pulled up Pepsi, and you scroll through the Pepsi posts, what you're going to find is a bunch of Pepsi logos. It's going to be a can of Pepsi, a bottle of Pepsi, it's going to be a celebrity with a Pepsi, right? I personally believe that Pepsi could stop doing that for the next 10 years. And instead they could interview, they could interview people. Tell the story of a kindergarten teacher who has a kid with Down syndrome, and she loves teaching, and have her share a story about how she was impacted by a student. And never say the word Pepsi at all. Just tell the story of Sarah in Ohio, the kindergarten teacher. In the bottom right-hand corner is the Pepsi logo. We know it. I think you guys all can clearly visualize the Pepsi logo in your head. Doesn't have to be a testimonial. Now, if you saw and you scrolled through Pepsi and it was just a bunch of stories, written or interview stories of different people, and it wasn't a testimonial, you get stuck on it. You start flipping through and going like, oh, they just told a story about a real estate agent, or they told a story about Sarah, the kindergarten teacher. You know, that resonates with the kid show, right?
What's the benefit of that, though, if it's not tied back to the business?
We keep thinking that. We're transactional, right? But if Pepsi did that, what you would learn about Pepsi is that they care about you. They're telling authentic stories of people. You're going to assume that that's a customer. We're going to connect that. Oh, why else would Pepsi interview them, right? So, but you might also think, how can I get my story told? I don't know how to get my story told. You know, so it's not a direct transaction. Again, I was mentored by platform builders. Mark Zuckerberg never, when you onboarded, he didn't say, hello, this is Mark Zuckerberg. I just want to onboard you and let you guys know, here are the rules for Facebook. I'd like you guys to mention me as often as possible. Here's how to use the platform. You can only use it this way, so you have to follow my rules. Also, whenever possible, write a testimonial about how much you love Facebook. Never did that. You went on, you created the uploader, the cover, your profile photo, and you became a poster. It was simply a platform. And what I did up here was simply a platform. This stage right here, because you guys are all here and people are going to watch this was a platform. And I could have used my platform to stand up here and talk the whole time. So far, I've not sold anything. I haven't told you about my business at all. But I've got this content where I'm sharing you. And you know what? You'll probably hit share when I share that content. You're going to share that. And you know what? I will even give you the content without a share link so that you can go share your content with your followers. And you know what? Bottom right-hand corner will be my logo. And people will wonder, oh, where does this go? It's storytelling. And that's what marketing is. Marketing is storytelling. Unfortunately, we think transactionally. And we think, let me tell my story. Let me tell my product story. Here's more info. And I honestly believe that Pepsi could stop telling stuff for the next 10 years and instead share the stories of people. And then people would go like, oh my God, did you see what I learned? Did you hear this story? Did you see that story? And I think that they would grow as a business and be more authentic by simply sharing their stories. And I highly encourage people to do that. And I will go a little techie here. Do you know the difference between Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3? No? Okay. So Web 1 came out as the first web development, as the first websites. This was right after the Yellow Pages. Do you remember the Yellow Pages and the White Pages, those books of info? Okay, so the world went onto the internet. But what we knew was these directories. So what did the first websites look like? They were directories. It was just a directory. We took the Yellow Pages and put it on the internet. In the early 2000s with MySpace and Facebook and these guys, they created websites where people could leave artifacts behind. You could create a profile, and then you, as a user, could start posting content onto Facebook's website. This is crazy. Why would you do that? Everybody else just had a website with their own stuff on it. And yet, not even a need for show of hands. I almost guarantee that if you have a website, it's all your stuff. You probably don't have a spot on your website where customers can leave their own things and self-promote on your website. Because we're still building websites, and website builders are still building websites for you guys based off Web 1 concepts of the record. It was a landing page where people could learn about your business. But what if you treated your page differently? What if you treated your website like Facebook? Now, I will share, and this isn't as a promo because you won't get much out of this, but if you go to my Joseph Haecker website, you're going to learn about my business. But I have this other door. It's called Ignite Business Insider, and I do invite you guys to share your story on Ignite Business Insider. On there is purely you sharing your story about your business. It is simply the same kind of questions that I asked. It never is a promo for me. In fact, it doesn't even have my name. It says Ignite Business Insider. So that you have more street credit when you go share it out, that you were featured on Ignite Business Insider. So on my, what amounts to business strategy coaching website, josephhaecker.com/ignite/your story, right? And now I have that Facebook-like platform for sharing your story. So that storytelling requires zero effort on my part. And on average, when people post their story about their business, they get business from it. People learn about their business, so they get business from it. Also, on average, each new article brings me 5,200 new eyeballs. That's how I grew 30,000 subscribers on my website in a year as a coaching site. Consulting and coaching websites, typically, you have lead funnels. You put some PDF offer out there, some click funnel, and that's how they grow. That's how they build their email list. I tell your story. I build a platform on my website. And I highly encourage you guys to do the same. On your site, tell the stories, let people share their stories. When you're out, go meet companies, go talk with the owners and stuff. Ask them to share about them. How do you get started? What makes you unique? What's something most people might not know? What do you love when you go into a restaurant? What do you order from your restaurant? Have them share authentically, draw that story out of them, and then you're the conduit for sharing it. How are we doing on time? And did we? Yeah. Anybody else want to share about their business? No? Any other questions?
What I was quite interested in is how do you share your story at the same time as working with others, but without weakening you in the vulnerability kind of moment? Because obviously, if you share your story, sometimes like mine is kind of boring. Tell the truth. That's my story. But I'm a little bit concerned about sharing that story because it actually could weaken me at the same time. So I wondered how you. Does that make sense?
What do you mean by that? Yeah.
Well, we've been talking about how we share our story, we share the emotion, we share and how that and how we can kind of connect by sharing each other's stories. But if your story is quite good, could that weaken your business?
So it depends. So you can hold that.
Deep question. Sorry.
Yeah. So in the last month, I've been developing a TikTok-like platform for food reviews. It's called One Bite Food.
Yeah.
So the entire platform is just like TikTok. It's user-generated content. A person can sign up, and when they do, they can begin to post food reviews, video reviews, written content, and they can create a podcast on my platform for free.
Right. Okay.
Wait, that website is not my place to share. I have it about, but that's so that people can learn about the platform. Now, I will then now go out on to be interviewed on other things and podcasts where I'll share the story that I can't even taste or smell. I lost my taste and smell in April of 2021 due to COVID.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of funny that I launched an entire platform for food reviews where I can't even taste or smell.
Something kind of sensory, but actually that's part of the story, isn't it? In some ways.
Well, and
it
on,
just shows you that.
well, on the platform, that's not the goal. On the platform is for you to learn how you could sign up today and you could start earning money through tips and 80% of ad share and subscribers. You can build that's not where you want to learn about me.
No.
Where you want to hear about me is out on a podcast or on some other article. That's where I tell my story. And a lot of people, and again, I get this because we were kind of taught to build this website, and this website was your calling card. And this is going to have about your team and all this stuff. It's the cookie cutter shit that marketers sell you about a website.
It's so boring, isn't it?
Yeah. But if you shifted your thinking, I just talked with a real estate agent. She thinks that she's got to sell houses. And she does. That's what it's her business. She sells houses, right? We get that. Because she said, hi, I'm a real estate agent.
The real estate agent doesn't sell houses, they sell a lifestyle. Right?
They sell a lifestyle, except for her website does not. Her website will have nothing but houses, right? So what should she be doing? She should be telling the stories of local businesses. Because what does that tell people? It tells people she knows these people, right? Also, I don't need to know that. I don't need to be looking for a house to see an article about a local restaurant that I didn't know about. And where do I read about that local restaurant? I read about it on her website, right? And if I really like it and I want to share it with somebody, I hit share. And now my friends discover it where? On her website. She's not even using her website that way. She was thinking, I sell houses. Here's more of my houses. Now, you know what? I'm not going to go to her website if I'm not looking for a house. But now I could go to her website to learn about that local Korean restaurant, or that man keeps opening up moms, or that a new entertainment group is going to be playing at the local whatever.
Nobody really looks at websites anymore today.
We spend on average, I believe the number when we land on a website now is 1.6 seconds. So you've got 1.6 seconds to capture somebody's attention. If I'm not looking for real estate, I'm never even on her website. But if I see a post from a friend, one of you guys posted about some inner salsa on Tuesdays over at, what's the place over there? Well, I might look at that and I might even share that with people. It has nothing to do with real estate, but where am I? And where are my friends who read that? They're on her real estate website. And so when I do need real estate, well, shit, I'm always on there reading about local things. She has a great opportunity to leverage her community and tell stories of her community, drive business to her community. You know, the restaurants and the businesses would love her. Right now, she's just a real estate agent. And if you've ever met a real estate agent, they're always talking real estate. Real estate, real estate, real estate. What if they weren't? What if she was a community builder? And that's how she could easily change her entire... It requires a whole revamping of her mindset. She's now not transactional. She's sharing her community. And if she loves selling real estate in this community, why would she not do that? But it hadn't even cost her money.
It's modular, right? Everybody's just looking at everybody else instead of sort of going inside and finding,
And that's how this workshop started, putting yourself in the shoes of your customer, right? She hadn't done that. She put herself in the shoes of, she was probably, this is the path for a lot of real estate agents, she's probably a cocktail waitress or a server at a restaurant, and she found out how she can make good money doing real estate. Yeah, and so then she sold her first listing, and she made, $10,000. That was awesome. Wow, I haven't made $10,000. Now she's hooked and she's selling real estate. And now every other word out of her mouth is real estate, real estate, real estate. What if she was a community storyteller? What if she was a platform for local businesses? The community would love her. People would go to her over the other real estate agents. And honestly, she wouldn't have to do much because now you're reading about that local salsa. And you know what? Right there are her listings. It's only her listings. So you would, and I even, when I talked to her, said, post your real estate agents' listings. Let them post their listings on your real estate website. And you might ask, why would another real estate agent do that? Because they don't know how to build a damn platform. You're driving traffic onto there.
Well, it's a mindset, is that years ago when I was younger, I used to run hair salons. Actually, I created quite big brands when I was quite young. And my clients, they used to love the fact that we were part of the community. So we'd always be doing community events, street parties, things like that. But what happened is one year, I had 5 of my stylists leave to build their own business. They didn't know what they wanted. And everybody was like, you can't tell the clients where they are because you're going to lose all the business. And I went, absolutely not. You're going to tell the clients exactly where they are and congratulate them on their new business. Most of those clients went to their new business, came back to us because the mindset of community building, they came back to us. And actually it was our best year. And in year 3 we turned 4.5 million. Because I allowed them to have it and I allowed them to be part of the community and I recommended them. And actually in turn what that did was create this kind of...
I'll go one step further for you. So I had a friend, Paul, and Paul has a Jewish deli in Chicago. And years ago, one of his head chefs came to him and said, hey, give you my 2-week notice, Paul was like, oh, find another job. I was like, actually, it started my own sushi restaurant. And Paul was like, oh my God, it's amazing. Tell me about it. And I was like, well, I just gave my 2-week notice. Like, is it cool to share this? And he was like, yeah. So they got to share this. And Paul says, well, do you have the location? Do you have the menu? Do you have the product sourcing? Do you have all this stuff? And he was like, no, but, I really love sushi. And Paul's like, oh, well, I know the back of the house. I know the HR. I know the supply chain. Are you looking for investors? And the guy was like, dude, again, I just gave my notice. You're not weirded out about this? And he's like, no. He's like, you've worked with me for a long time. I like you. That's why I hired you. That's why I work with you. I can help you. Paul has incubated, last time I talked with him, pre-COVID, over 80 restaurant concepts. Because Paul's good at the back end. He runs a successful deli, but now he's incubated over 80 companies. So I was a manager who referred and wrote letters of recommendation for people too, but I never invested in those people. Paul went the step, and I think it's fucking amazing that Paul went the step above and beyond and said, you know what? I like working with you. Can I invest in your company? I've got some expertise, and it frees you up to focus on what you're good at. He's incubated over 80 different restaurant concepts. Paul would never have owned a sushi restaurant, and now he does. And so he turned himself into a platform. He became an incubator of restaurants. So a step further would be when a person leaves you, say, like, hey, I can actually help you.
I wish I'd done that, actually. I wish I'd invested into them. Instead, I invested my time to help them.
Yeah.
And it created a really nice community, and people always, when they were full, they would always recommend us.
Yeah.
And in fact, it just became that. We were so busy that we had a 9-month waiting list. And because it was the essence of the idea that we had a community. It was a long time before it was really online marketing, although we were doing it, and actually that was a sneaky.
And that's so you had gone through all the stumbling blocks. You had opened, and then you went through your slow days, and then you learned how to hire properly and get all the right paperwork in and all that stuff. They're going to have to go learn that. So you have a specialty that they don't, and you can help them speed through all the bumps and bruises by investing. And now you own part of all these your competitors. It's freaking awesome. There may come a time where you don't even have to work because you've invested in all these other startups. Anybody else? Any questions?
Thank you for this discussion. This is really interesting, fascinating to hear all the stories. I want to build on top of what you shared around community building and really being embedded and not seeing someone who goes off to do their own thing as competitors, but rather as collaborators in the same ecosystem. I've been lucky enough to use storytelling to build new categories of industries where multiple companies would start creating within. And I've seen the power of creating that container of a narrative that others can stand behind. I've also been lucky enough to work one-on-one with founders and leaders to help them unblock their own storytelling, their inner world, that goes outwardly. The challenge I still find myself in is how we align stories across communities or across people, for example, one-on-one founder alignment, when we see that the story simply doesn't match, and that might be a killer for the business, or across organizations if you're competing in the same space, instead of realizing you should collaborate, that it might be detrimental. How do we tell stories around which people can find shared truth where there's seemingly competition, disparity, and conflict? I feel that is a very important question, especially in today's day and age, especially today, specifically post an election that seemingly has taken over the world. It's just a story of one place, and yet they have managed to capture the world stage. So this is my question to you, is how do we tell stories around which more people can find themselves in, and they don't feel they have to choose some sort of side?
So, again, I got mentored by some pretty unique people. And I'll ask you guys the question, and it'll get to your answer here. What's the difference between Facebook and LinkedIn? Anybody? Facebook, LinkedIn's for business? Yeah, and Facebook's more friends and family, right? In fact, they struggle with it, and they're always kind of pumping the brakes and stepping on the gas for how much business can show up on Facebook. So they're always trying to juggle that one. Here's the short answer: there's no difference. Could you post a picture of a birthday cake on Facebook and LinkedIn? Does LinkedIn buzz you or zap you for it? Do they delete it? They don't. It's a platform. You can post either way. In working with these different tech founders and startups, and then I'm heavily involved in the startup space. The word that I heard from Jeff and Nick and Michael and Kevin was the word nudge. So the answer to your question is nudging. LinkedIn creates an environment where we are told repeatedly through the tools on there that this is business. Facebook is more friends. And how do you know that? It's the color selection, it's the environment that they create, it's the tools that they create on there, stories and groups. This is friends and family. LinkedIn is business, it's networking. They say it's networking. They say you're on Facebook, your group of people, connections, is friends. On LinkedIn, it's network, right? So it's nudging. So very intentionally nudging and creating an environment. You want something glamorous? Well, then from a marketing standpoint, it's probably going to be black and gold and this type of like luxury type colors. You want something fun and whimsical, then it's going to be like your blues and pinks and weird, other colors. So those are nudges. So you can create an environment in your space, whether it's any space. You can create. This could have been designed entirely different. It would have changed the floor or the feel in here. The ground was the same. You just nudged us into a different behavior by the way they brand and position. So nudging. Do you mind?
Okay, so my question, because I know a lot of people in the room are going to be multi-potential and passionate about a bunch of different things. We're running multiple brands or businesses. So how would you put that all together?
So I currently have 30 tech companies, 9 small businesses. I've got 4 podcasts, 3 digital magazines, 26 books published on Amazon. I'm working on my 27th. I advise over 3 dozen startups, and I'm fractional CMO for a handful of companies. I take about 3 to 5 naps a day. If I had the mindset of doing all this shit, if I was pivotal in my business, but like my Ignite Business Insider, you can check the story. I woke up yesterday, somebody posted a new story. It's just there on my website. They're telling their story. They're promoting their business. So that real estate agent could easily create a platform for letting other people tell their story. So in fact, it's a rule I have. I will not touch a business unless I can turn my customer into my marketer. What that means is like with the One Bite Foodie, the TikTok for food reviews. I've spent 1 month building it. I've created invites inviting businesses to share their story. I just want to interview foodies and local restaurants about their business. They just answer 5 questions, and I create an article about their business, and now they're familiar with my company, right? And then I have automations that stay in front of them, and then when they've touched my platform roughly about 3 or more times, then they may join. But in the meantime, I just told their story. Are you guys on TikTok? No. Instagram?
I just got into TikTok
Okay.
2 weeks ago, yes.
Wait, Instagram? Everybody's pretty much up. Did Instagram ever reach out to you and ask you to be featured in a magazine and tell their story about you? No, they wouldn't do that. It's insane. I am. My first reach out to you isn't join my platform, here's the benefits, sell. Mine is, hey, we'd like to feature you in our Behind the Foodie magazine. Or for the restaurants, we'd like to feature you in our magazine, Back of House. And here's the 5 questions, you can take a look at them. It's all about you. what makes it unique? What's an item at your restaurant that you buy when you're there? Share a background story about you and your business. There's no sale. There's no sale at all. They will become familiar with the brand. They will learn about it. They'll have posted on it. Here's the trick. I ask them 5 questions about themselves. There's no signing up. They just fill out the questions, and at the end of it, they hit publish. And what that does is it creates an article on our website. And the next thing it says is to hit share. Right? So a restaurant down the street fills out their own, they do their own interview. They hit publish, they have content written about them. It's an interview. It's like they were published in a magazine. In fact, I called it Back of House Magazine. Right? And they hit share, because it's about them, right? So when they hit share, they're going to get business from this. People are going to read about their business, they're going to hear about that recipe that they enjoy, or the secret to why food tastes better at a restaurant than it does at home, right? And you're going to learn about that, and you're probably going to hit share, because you learned that about their business. And I haven't sold anything to them yet. I've just told their story. They will get business out of this. And what did this cost me? Because I didn't write the content. They did all the work. They got business out of it. It's a win-win-win. But that's not how most businesses think. In fact, right now, most businesses like mine would have been out there like, hey, can you join? But I've got free and then an upgrade. We don't have to talk about the upgrade yet, but free upgrade. Are you ready to join? Join, because you can make money, right? Fuck that shit. That's a lot of work. It doesn't even feel right. So with mine, I created a digital magazine. LinkedIn and Instagram is not going to reach out to me. But what if they did? What if they created a who's who of Instagram and told stories? Well, I might tune into that and just read stories about that, and I'll probably discover new people on Instagram that I might not have discovered, because on Instagram my behavior is self-promotion. Instagram's never told our story. So that's where I saw a gap, and on my platform, I'm telling a story. And for me, it's super awesome because I'm just food and beverage. So I'm way niche. So yeah, I created 2 fake magazines called Behind the Foodie and Back of House, so that people, it's not one bite foodie, because that sounds pretty sold out, right? But it's Back of House magazine. That's something a restaurant can get down with. They're not promoting me necessarily, except for the URL. If you look at the URL, it says onebitefoodie.com/backofhouse/your article.
Thank you. Very insightful what you're saying, and I appreciate this space and being a part of this. I have a question. If you're a small business owner and say you have a website and you want to habilitate it, you want to create this platform you're talking about, to drive traffic and create more authentic content and stuff. If you are the business owner, how many resources would you allocate to this? Because I'm talking from what I'm doing. We obviously have a marketing budget. And
what is it that you do?
So I work for an architecture firm, and we have a website, services, and it's more message. And that was one of the things. We're not being authentic. And I'm really getting your idea, and it's really making me shift, right? This mindset, and I can see already what I can do. But it's more about how do I know how much time and resources I would allocate to this new content creation that I cannot really measure, if it's gonna have a conversion or not. But I hear what you're saying, and I know that it has value and stuff. But how do I prove that? You know what I mean?
So this is my jam. My background was in light fixtures for hotels and casinos. I know Andy Cohen, the CEO, now co-CEO of Gensler. I know Frank Geary, who designed the Disney concert hall. I don't have to go to your website. I can almost guarantee that I know what your website looks like. You've got a picture. You've got your logo. You're going to show projects that you worked on. You're going to write about your company. It's going to talk about your architect. You're going to have photos of your architects and maybe a little bio about your team, because this matters. And truth be told, from the customer standpoint, I want to know, can you build my house? What's the price going to be like? I want to know that you understand the region, that you understand the people here, you've got the right network to pull this off. Your value isn't that you can build a house. I assume you can. I assume you're an architect. I assume you can build a house. What I want to know is that you've got the right team in place and that you're going to remove the headaches from me. That if I hire your architecture firm, you guys have the expertise and the team in place to pull this off. And I want to culturally fit in with you. I want to vibe with you, right? You probably don't tell the story of your contractors. You don't tell the story of the people in your community. You don't tell the story of the past projects. I see the project. You've got probably beautiful photos of your portfolio. But you didn't introduce me to the general manager or the person running that business. I didn't learn about the story behind them. I didn't learn about that resort that you built and some interesting facts that they love about the project and what their customers are saying about being there and enjoying it. I'm not getting all those things on your website. What if you did? What if your architectural website was a space for storytelling? And you will never run out of content that way because every one of your customers is a new story. It's not an architecture story. It's a story of that cupcake company that you designed their space for. It's a story about their success. It's about checking in with them every now and then and having them share an update. So now it's a year later, how do you know your business? What do you love about your business? Now, if I am, let's say you did a cupcake company, you redesigned the thing, right? I don't necessarily care about a social post with photos of that location. But if you told the story of that location, and I'm thinking of opening up a donut shop, and I'm reading the story about this cupcake company, right? And that appeals to me because I'm a donut shop, and they're a cupcake company. And I'm reading about Mark when he opened up his cupcake company. And what he enjoys about his cupcake company and seeing his recipes and that he likes his matcha cupcake and it's got photos in there, right? Me as a donut shop owner, I'm reading this on your architecture website. What am I going to infer? You built it, right? And that guy's awesome. I know this because I'm a foodie. I'm opening up a donut shop. What matters to me is that my business is successful. Mark's business looks pretty successful. I'm assuming because you built it, you had some play in this. So who am I going to call? But am I going to call you because of some beautiful photo of a cupcake store? No, I'm going to call because I learned a story about Mark, my person that I look up to in my space. And so I'm going to call you to design mine because I want mine to look like this. You're telling the wrong story. It requires an upending because we are designed, like I said at the very beginning, Chris Widener, and I'll never forget this. I hope you guys don't forget this either. We judge others on their actions. We judge ourselves on our intention. And your intention, you'd like to be this community person. I kind of heard it from you when you shared. You'd like to be this, but we're trying to see things out of our lives. So what do I need? I need another architecture client. So we're very transactional. But what if you told more stories? I'll tell you your business will grow. Great beard.
Yours looks awesome.
This isn't a beard, this is I quit shaving like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, quite very interesting. We are so blessed to have you here. It's really enjoyable. Just first I share something because the field is working. I believe anyone who ever worked in a creative business like artists or design studios, they know that their nightmare is their customers' expectations and aspirations of the design marketing to accommodate their expectations and what they want. And for architects specifically, this is a big part of any successful architectural design firm to accommodate
accommodate as much as they can. It's a very human-based work architecture, right? People want architecture to feel the greatest as they want to. And this is creating a place for a storytelling. Recently, I noticed a very young architect woman, and I noticed her social media Instagram was like on fire. She had millions of followers, and I was like, wow, like for an architect, she must be doing something really right. And she turned exactly these struggles with her clients into social media stories. Like every project, she was talking about what was the obstacles, what was the challenges, how the client was rejecting, asking, expecting so much, and how she accommodated and solved their problem. So she was talking about how she solved her client's problem as a voiceover as she was showing, demonstrating the design, why she did what she did, why here is elevated, why that wall is here, because my client wanted this. And I think it's a perfect example that came to my mind, that you said human-centered marketing is all about interaction with humans. So, one point, and my own original sharing actually. A couple of us here, you mentioned my brother so you also mentioned, and you, one concern we all shared. That was the nature of our work and sensitivity of these client stories. I'm running the somatic healing platform also. It's Ascension Somatics, using an ancient Sufi-inspired total nervous system reset. 12 hours of trance, you are getting to the depth of what you hold in your body, and you release to the extremes of unimaginable, what you hold in trauma in your nervous system. And these stories are very powerful, very life-changing. Like anyone who arrives, they are at loss of words. They are like, how I can't even describe what happened to me. It's like a whole new rebirth. But the sensitivity of the traumas, we are dealing with extremes of traumas that we all share. It only humbled me to notice how much trauma each and every one of us carry within, and we carry on so bravely, strongly. So I made the inquiry myself, what is the solution? How I can do this sensitive.
And I think that kind of leads to your question earlier about kind of the tarot and stuff. And how many of you guys are in the healing on the space here? Okay, so then that question is going to come up where it said, how do you share that story? Don't share that story. That's personal. But everybody is on a journey. Share the journey story. So sit a person down. This isn't, again, you're not slamming a person into a chair saying, you are my customer, so you have to share the story. Invite people to share the story. Would you like to share your story with me? I genuinely want to know your story. What was an early childhood? What was your childhood like? What was your, and just let a person tell their story. We all want to tell our story, even if we're going through trauma, even if we're, we've got the background thing that we all want to tell our story. We want to fit in as a community. Humans want to fit in as a community. And from the beginning of time where we sat around a campfire, we told stories. This is how we learned about everything, with storytelling. Sit down with your clients. Just draw out a story. And again, it doesn't have to be a testimonial. It doesn't have to be a direct relation to your business. Just, I am happy to work with you. Right? And I want to share your story. This is the story I shared with you. There was nothing super traumatic, and yet you shared very vulnerably. It was awesome. And people are going to resonate with that. And if people heard that, they learn about you. And then they can resonate with it. If I told my story 900 different ways, you're like, fuck, I heard this story before. You know? But that's what we look like on social media and marketing. It's me dicing up my story 900 different ways. I will never run out of content if I share my customer story. And I can always reach back to them and check in with them. Now, most businesses will pay for marketing to stay relevant with their customer, right? So you're constantly putting marketing in front of people just so that we capture them at the right moment to re-engage them so that they come back into your store or your business, right? But what if you reached out and just offered to share their story? Hey, it's been a while. I haven't had you feature your story. I'd like to tell your story again. You were amazing to me, and I loved hearing your story last time. Will you share your story again? That's a tap on the shoulder.
So I keep hearing this question come up, and I really like to think creatively about these problems because I have a feeling that we're not completely satisfied with the response we're getting. And so I have a question. I wonder, I think a little bit of the tension here is the people would love to tell their stories. They just don't necessarily want their name, face associated. There are some really creative ways. I'm a teacher. I've done this with my students, and there's creative ways to use technology. You can have like an avatar tell the story. You can use different names. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so even with One Bite Foodie, this was the TikTok right? And TikTok's is video, right? Yeah, I know you guys know TikTok is video. But I didn't stop there because I was like, you know what? I was creating a platform for a foodie who maybe didn't know how to start their foodie business. Or maybe they already have a foodie business, but you'd be surprised at how many foodies don't make money because they don't even know how to make money. They like food, they like the storytelling of food. Asking people to pay them, that's a whole different story, right? So on my platform, we start with video, we introduce articles, and have podcasts. So now a person can go on my platform for free, and they can begin to post video, written, or audio content, and they can start to build a framework for their business, immediately making tips, and then for an upgrade, they can get rev share, right? So yes, not everything is one medium. So there's many different ways to tell your story. I could have sent you a link, like I had on the Ignite, where I asked you, would you like to type this? Maybe you're a typey person. Maybe you're a person who would rather just sit with me and do an audio podcast. Maybe you're a person who would like to feel comfortable having your face on camera. I'll tell you, there's some drawbacks to face on camera. Face on camera means that you've got to be dressed appropriately. So that's going to be off-putting for people who are like, oh, let's do a video, or I got to get my hair done, or I got to be dressed, right? If we do audio and it's just an audio recording, well, this is easy. I can show up in sweatpants and my hair all messed up because my picture's on it. Also, doesn't have to have your picture. This could be a story of Jane. It doesn't have to be Jane Smith. So yeah, this isn't you have to do anything.
So for those of us who are working with clients who want to remain anonymous, what I've discovered in my business as a health and weight loss coach is there are 3 tiers of customers. There's the one customer who's so excited, and all I have to say is, hey, would you mind coming to inspire other ladies about your transformation? And they'll say, oh yeah, let me know what time, when, how many minutes, and they're the ones I'll bring to a master class and interview. There's the client who's excited, but does not want anyone to know what she did. So that's the kind of customer who every 6 weeks, I'm going to send out a little questionnaire, and I'll ask, how do you feel about your progress thus far? And they'll ramble, or when I'm talking on the phone. And I'll type that and send it to her and say, are you okay with me sharing this in quotes that you said about working with me? So I can write a social media post and say, maybe her name is Susan. I might say, Sharon said this about reversing diabetes and working with me, and I'll put her quote. Nobody knows who she is. Nobody will ever know who she is, but I'll put information and put numbers to make it solid. And then there are people who will never allow me to do any of that. For example, I shared last week on Kenyan. I just finished working with the president's daughter. I can never get her on camera. I can never get anything from her other than, oh my God, you won't meet people who I just worked with. That's like I have nothing to share. And I have somebody working level 4 clearance, I think it's FBI in the US, I cannot share. So for those people, all I have them do is, do you know somebody in your circle who would benefit or is asking about what you're doing that you could refer me to? And those are the people. I spoke to a lady yesterday and she said, oh my God, I just saw what you've done with so-and-so, the president's daughter. I don't care what it is, sign me up. So that's more of a referral, right? So in my mind, when I meet people or when I speak with my clients, what I've noticed is when something is very personal, they don't want the public to know, especially if it's a struggle, but they'll be willing and will approve for you to use in quotes. This is what her words from her mouth, and if it really is what she said, it will sound authentic. I don't know if that helps anybody.
So I work with interior designers, and interior designers will sometimes get that like celebrity client or a wealthy individual who pays for their interior design. They don't want people knowing the inside of their home. Now, I say that interior designers don't even fucking ask. They make the excuse right away for 100% of their clients that, oh, my clients are private, and they would never. And I've challenged that with designers. I said, well, have you even asked? And the answer is, it's always no. They assume for the client wants this privacy, so they miss out on 100% of the marketing opportunity because they never even ask. Now, I'll flip that and say that, have you guys ever watched these like celebrity interior design shows where like the TV station does like an interview of their home and does a walk through the home? So even your celebrity designers, the ones that interior designers are so sensitive about, do open it up for HGTV or like the different home shows, right? So that's not true. That's not true. The networks reach out to these celebrities, and the celebrities say yes. What's the difference between an interior designer and a network? Well, the network asks. The interior designers don't even ask, right? Now, I will say, if an interior designer was like, oh, hey, could you do an endorsement for me? Like, I want to come out and we're going to do this lame TikTok video. Well, I don't know if that does well with my brand, right? And I don't want to be a part of that. So why did they say yes to HGTV and not the interior designer? Well, the HGTV is telling your story, right? So if it was me glorifying me, yeah, I'm not endorsing that. You design my house, get out, right? But if it's about the celebrity, they sign up for that shit all the time because they are a personal brand. So it's how you spin it. If you're looking for an endorsement, yeah, that's going to take a lot out of me. I don't know if I like the work. I enjoyed it. It's cool working with you, but am I ready to endorse you? But if you ask the person to share their story, it's a whole different thing. It's not an endorsement. It's sharing somebody else's story.
You just make it about everybody else.
Yeah, always.
That is the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then suddenly that's about you.
And it's authentic.
Kind of like it's almost a kind of twisted. It doesn't make sense, but totally makes sense, right?
And it doesn't have to be belated. It could also be a simple question like, can you tell me the first food brand that you remember as a child? Kellogg's, right? Or Cracker Jack or some, the prize at the bottom of your cereal, something. We can all relate to something. Okay, now, if I had him share that, and I sent that content to him for him to share, he might share it, right? But it just took him down memory lane, so he hit the share button. Right? This wasn't a big ask. This wasn't super personal. It was just one question about a childhood memory. There you go. There's content. It's not superimposing. It doesn't have to be crazy. It's just a quick little share. And what his friends will right away, what they'll do is they'll hit the button, they'll read about it. They're now on my platform, and there's this inference that we're connected, even if we're not.
Oh, now I have three opportunities. One, very practical, is just to ask someone who already made a goal to help. The other could be, I already forgot I will try to remember. But the other ones would be to I think it's very practical just to ask.
I will invite you guys, because I think Stephanie's ready to wrap up. I will invite you guys. I'm going to be here till about December 8th. So if you guys would like to meet up for coffee, free to. My price points are really high, so I am not trying to sell anybody anything. If you guys would like to go grab a coffee, I would love to dig in. I have a personal passion for business owners. I believe that most people struggle just to earn a paycheck. And if you are a business owner, whether you're self-employed or you own companies, or if you employ people, I think you guys are pretty amazing. You guys have stepped outside of the mass majority, and you've gone into owning your own company. And if I can help you guys be more successful, and later on you hire people because of it, or you have customers that love what you guys do, I would love to help you guys get there. I'm only going to be here till about December 8th, so if you guys want to grab a cup of coffee, I'd have to sit with you.
And where can people find you online?
Oh, sure. You can Google me. I'm very Googleable. Joseph Haecker, Haecker. Feel free to follow. Yeah, it's Joseph Haecker, Haecker.
And we'll get me all this contact information in the WhatsApp groups as well.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
So this one is everyone's time. We're going to wrap up, but Joseph will probably be coming out for a few minutes, so if anyone has additional questions, reach out to him. On behalf of the entire Entrepreneur Collective, I want to thank everyone for making your time, yourselves in your business today, and being here. I hope you got a lot of value out of it, learned a lot, and we're always looking for people to present. So if you would like to give a presentation to the group, let me know, or if there's something for a fun, we can go in the WhatsApp group as well. So we would love to have you. And thank you to Deep and Radio Tulum for letting us have the space today. So hope you all enjoyed, and thank you again for coming. Hope to see you next Wednesday, or here every Wednesday from 9 to 11. So thanks so much, guys.